right, dude. Why don't you give me a quick little intro, then let's jump right into the world of real estate.
Yeah, man. My name's Char Hiaring. I've been in real estate for the past 7 years. And, every time I tell this story, I feel like I have a different version of how I got into real estate, right? And you hear a lot of people say, oh, I just fell into it. And I don't really know if it was something that I just stumbled into, but from what I could remember, a lot of people have read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you've heard of that, but a lot of people who get into real estate, they do it because of that book, that financial education book. And so it's kind of funny. At the time, I had this girlfriend, and I wasn't doing much with my life. I was going to the bar every weekend. I had a job paying like $12 an hour. And the funny thing was, this is like my 50th job. I was 22 years old, 23 years old. And she's like, you got to read this book. Because I had aspirations to do bigger things in my life, but I was surrounding myself with people who were in and out of jail, getting drunk all the time. And I didn't understand that I was a product of my surroundings, my environment. I didn't really understand that at this time. So I read this book, and I feel like it was the missing puzzle piece to my life. Like I read this book, and I felt so dumb. And I'm like, I really got to hone into this information because this stuff is going to change my life. And I had to read that book like 3 times. I still go back to and read that book today, and I take bits and pieces from it that are really good nuggets. So, I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it gets me thinking. It gets me thinking that the solution to my problem is real estate. And so what I do from there is I draft up this resume that says I'm this badass sales guy and have all this highest level skill set, which none of it was true at the time. But I wanted this place to hire me because...
What resume is.
Yeah, right. So draft up this resume because there was a job selling manufactured homes that paid like 90 to 150 grand a year. And at this time, the most amount of money that I ever made was like 30 grand. And I'm telling myself, if I could just land this job, like it's going to change my life. And really it did. It changed my life. And so that's really how it got started. As I read this book, decided that these friends, I need to cut them off. Like they're bad for my life. And the reason why I was surrounding myself with these people is I didn't really have a family. These friends were my family. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of people nowadays, my generation, that this is true for them, that they're not really close with their family, and that their friends are their family. And I kind of associated them with my family, and so it was so hard to cut these people off. And I finally just ripped the Band-Aid off, cut the friends off, and started to change my life slowly.
So I recently, the last couple of years, have been really shrinking my circle. Mm-hmm. How was it for you? Because it's kind of tough. I mean, they turn on you, they try to pull things and bring up past. And so how was that? I mean, because there's a lot of people that are going to be listening, like that are, I've put stuff out. I put it out not regularly, but I mentioned it several times throughout the year, like keep your circle small. And you hear people and your elders always like, and I grew up and I'd always watch my mom and dad, and they had the most simplest life, but they never had people around. And I'm like, God, you guys are losers. You don't have any friends. And they're like, my dad always be like, son, one day you're going to realize, when you find a good partner, that's all you need. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm hitting this pivotal point in my life, like I really sat down and watched myself like, okay, if these guys aren't supporting me in new business adventures or supporting ideas, or I started watching, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking to do. And once you start paying attention to the responses, that's when I was like, oh, okay, like this guy doesn't have my support. How was that for you? I mean, it's not easy to do, especially when you're rolling with the crew where you're doing wild, crazy shit all the time, or just in the party scene, that 100%. It's hard to pull yourself out of that and then start fading out. How was that for you?
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that. Like one of the things that I really hone in today, and then I'll get into this, is like I'm very intentional with how I spend my time and who I spend my time with.
Yep.
If I have somebody who's not on my level, then they're just not coming around. Yep. Like I will take the time. I'm humble enough to take the time to try to help somebody change their life, but I am super intentional with who comes in.
You have to be.
Very, very. Because I understand that I'm a product of my surrounding, and I've got big aspiration and a big vision for my life. But by the grace of God, I had big aspirations back then, and these friends were sick and tired of hearing my big aspirations. They'd make fun of me constantly. And by the grace of God, they cut me off. So I got lucky because
Were you
it was
offended by that.
really, I was really hurt. I was really,
even though you were ready to, but it didn't go your way. They cut you out, so I can see you like now. You almost like, okay, what the hell, even though you were trying to plan on doing that.
It was really tough because I had a tough upbringing. We weren't poor financially. My family was poor mentally.
Okay.
They had bad generational curses. My parents got divorced at an early age, and both my parents picked up addictions. My mom became an alcoholic. My father was an alcoholic and a drug addict. And that was in 4th grade. I had to grow up at a very young age.
Okay.
And it really took a toll on our life. The upbringing was really, really rough. And so,
how many siblings?
I've got one full brother, and then one full sister, and then one half brother, half sister. Yeah.
Where do you lie in the middle?
Yes, I'm the middle child. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it was tough because if my mom wasn't kicking my ass, my brother was kicking my ass. Mm-hmm. And the only time my mom ever showed love is when she was white girl wasted, right? So it was really tough, and it was tough growing up, trying to raise yourself and learn about, all these different things. And, over the last couple of years, I've learned some really valuable things in life that I should have learned early on. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like it's God's plan, right? I'm a strong believer in Christ. And so I really think that where I'm at has a purpose, because going through all those things now allows me to help people going through those things, because there's a generation of people who went through the same things I went through. And I know that my story and going through those things are going to help inspire people get out of them, because, I see a lot of people who surround themselves with the wrong people, for the wrong reasons, because it's comfortable, right? Our bodies don't like to be uncomfortable. We love to be comfortable, no matter what it is. And sometimes we don't even know why we're doing these things. But like I said, by the grace of God, they cut me off. And at that time, too, I met my now wife. I met her. And like you said, all you need is a good woman in your life, a family and a good woman, and you're set. So
that's good, man. And so during this journey, when did she step in? Because I know I'm speaking on the veteran side of things, of just the years of working with them, that a woman will make or break a man very quick. I get goosebumps because I don't even know, and my wife will never take credit for it, but I don't even know where I would be in life without her.
I agree.
I'm still trying to better myself every day, but I was just a violent, angry piece of shit when we met, and I was fighting the world. There's nothing. And so where in your journey obviously she stuck it out.
Yeah.
And so I want to know where she's at, but also at the same time, you mentioned your parents obviously splitting, which, coming from a split home, you have everything against you as it is as a child being raised. I feel like there's a lot that comes into that. Did you go down any paths where you saw your mom with alcohol, your dad's addictions? Was there any times where you were struggling with battling any of that? Or was that hey, I see what this is doing to my parents, and I've had to grow up helping raise younger siblings? Absolutely not. Was that a path, or were you, because it's usually one or the other.
Yeah.
It's I've never touched it because I grew up with parents like that, or you inherit their traits. Which one was for you?
Yeah, my parents weren't really that influence on me. My friends were. I had a strong willpower, and I'm getting it back now. I'm unworking a lot of these things that I instilled in myself. My friends were the real influence on me because they had my heart. My friends had my heart. My family didn't. My heart had turned cold for them through the years of abuse with my family. So I wasn't influenced by them, and I saw what it had done to them, and I wasn't interested in that. Yeah. But my friends had influenced me to do drugs and alcohol because it was a fun time, right? It started out as a fun time. But slowly, it gets its hooks in you, right? And it becomes something what you didn't intend it to be. The drugs and the alcohol turned into me being a loser. Yeah. Being somebody who I didn't even know who I was. And I was a weak man with a weak mind. And I feel like we have a generation full of that too. I see that a lot. And I can reference back to this because I'm pulling myself out of that and becoming successful in more ways than just with business and money, but with relationships, Absolutely. With my faith, with my wife, with my friends. And I think we need more of that nowadays. But
it needs to be highlighted more. I feel like there's a lot of men. So I'm new. So I grew up a pastor's kid.
Oh, wow.
Middle child pastor's kid, joined the military. I mean, I had everything against me, right?
Yep.
And so, growing up as a pastor's kid and and being a Christian, and then I joined the military and fall away from it. But now it's like I'm being pulled back super hard. We found an incredible church here that, we tried some out. And now obviously the church that we go to now, being able to relate to the Word of God. Another thing I love the most about the Bible or about that church is they follow the Bible. There's no interpretation of man, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing for me. But like, it's a crazy journey when you start pulling yourself out of circles.
Yep.
Start going on a spiritual journey, connecting yourself with your wife. I mean, it's incredible what it'll do to your soul. Yep. It's incredible what it does to you mentally, physically, the pressure, the weight, the anger that you just walk around for no reason. And then now you start catching yourself like, oh, that's okay. That doesn't,
Yep.
That's not a trigger anymore. Oh, I don't care. We'll build a new one, so your wife, mm-hmm. When did she step into the picture? At what stage in this journey that you're on?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Cause we had gotten together in 2017. But at this time, I was kind of a fake it till you make it, right? Like I kind of like I was with this job. Like I'm this badass sales guy. I can come in here and I could just crush it. Mm. That wasn't the case when I got this job. And the same was kind of true for my wife, right? Like I wasn't really a man. I was a little boy. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, I wasn't faithful or I wasn't a good boyfriend to her, yeah. Right? I should have married her a long time ago. And it really came to this breaking point where, when I met her, I actually wasn't religious at all. Like I didn't even know if I believed in God. And at the time, I'm like, I don't want to be like that. Like I don't believe in God. I don't want to live that life. And really the breaking point for me was, she started talking to me more about it and telling me like, just this is why we should give our lives to God. And I was pretty interested. I'm like, okay, well, no one's ever told me the way you've told me. I've always had people who've just judged me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and it was just like, I don't want to live that life. Like, that's miserable. And it came to this breaking point where it's crazy. Like, I didn't know, I started praying, right? I started praying. And the things I'd pray for is like, man, I just want to be rich, God. I just want to be rich and successful. And it's crazy because, one night I'm just telling myself, I was telling my business partner at the time, I was like, man, I love to be single. Like I had so much money in the bank. I'm going to go buy a new house. I've got this new truck. Like I could get all these girls. I could pull all these girls and just have the life. And I remember sitting in bed that night. My wife was out at a family member's house because they came to town to visit. And I just remember praying to God. I'm like, God, I don't have the heart to leave my wife, so she's going to have to leave me. And she came home that night. We got in a fight. And she broke up with me. Crazy.
Did you pick the fight? Do you remember?
She picked the fight, actually.
Okay.
I think I remember, but she broke up with me. And I thought it was going to be easy, and it was hard. Like, that breakup just destroyed me. It was super depressing. And from that moment, I just put my faith in God.
Yeah.
And
that's all you can do.
Yeah, that really changed my life. That really, I think God really did something to me in that season of life when my girlfriend at the time had left me, because I'm like, man, this breakup's going to be so easy. And I can't even tell you, man, it was so indescribable how depressed I was. And I didn't even know why I was depressed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I just got to put my faith in God through this time in my life. And it was the craziest thing that ever happened to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you. And so how long was your guys' little hiatus before you realized you screwed up?
I realized I screwed up the moment she broke up with me. I'm like, man, I have this, because she's a really good girl. Mm-hmm. I love my wife to death. I want to be here without her. But from the time she broke up with me, I'm like, this was a mistake. Like, I don't want to break up.
So now you're in the doghouse and you got to work yourself all the way back out of it.
Yeah. And so we broke up for like 3 months. Okay. And I was just, super depressed. And, I started drinking again. I started drinking really heavily. And but I still had my faith. I had more faith than I ever had in my life. Okay. I started putting my faith in God, praying a lot. And slowly I started working out of this depression. And, I just prayed every day. I'm like, man, if I get a chance, I'm going to marry this girl. We're going to have a family. And, that's what happened. We got back together a couple months later, and I was just super grateful to be back with her. And I'm like, man, I ain't messing up this time.
No.
I realized I had a really good person in my life. And if I got that person back, I'd be a fool to let them go. Because I don't think that, it's tough when you have a lot of money and a lot of success because you never know who's really genuine, right?
For sure.
And that's the thing with her. She was with me when I had nothing. And I lived in my mom's basement.
Those are the best ones, man.
Yeah.
Those what make them a ride or die.
Yep.
When they come from, I mean, that's why I tell my wife now, it's like, you can take everything that we have, and I'm like, you were with me when I was a broke ass Marine, like just like, had nothing.
Yep.
And so I was like, we can't go down any lower than that. I mean, obviously you can, but at our point in life, and there was been times where we were counting pennies. I had to call an old boss one time to help keep the lights on, in between when we were struggling, and there was never any, you need to make money or this isn't going to work. It was like, okay, how do we do this? How do we get through this? It's never, so that's when all right, like this, when they have your back, it's like, all right, I can't do it. But obviously as men, and I'm speaking for me, we're complete idiots sometimes and make stupid decisions. So you get the sales job. It wasn't panned out to be what you thought it was going to be, and then is that what helped you start looking into real estate, or how did you start that adventure?
I do a lot of reflecting in my life today to realize where I was at then and how the things kind of got me to the place I'm at today, because I realized that all these failures have been my building blocks to get me where I'm at. And that's the way I see failure today, right? I encourage failure because it makes me stronger.
Oh, for sure.
And so I look back on that time when I got the job selling the mobile homes, right? And I pictured myself kicking down the door, going in there and being the top salesman. Well, I didn't sell my first mobile home for 8 months. I struggled.
Ouch.
And the reason why is because I wasn't being real with myself. I was kind of doing the fake it till you make it right. I didn't commit in my mind that I was going to put in the hard work and learn the sales process, learn about real estate, financing, all these things, because I just wanted it to be handed to me. I didn't realize that success took hard work and a lot of failure. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that today with business and real estate and all of that. And so it was a progress, right? And that's what I'm building up, is the progress of me making myself getting to this next level. My saving grace, it was the manager, which when I got the interview, he was very monotone. And I'm like, man, I'm going to kick this guy's ass at sales. He's monotone. Like, how can he sell people? And he was the assistant manager at the time. The manager was actually my sister's mother-in-law. And she did everything for me at that job. She talked to my customers. She helped me sell. She did everything for me. And she got fired like 4 months in. And that guy became the manager. And he just told me, he's like, look, if you want it, you're going to have to go out there and get it. I'll help you, but I ain't going to do it for you. And we're now really good friends because he's just a great person in my life. And now I help him because I've progressed even further. And he's progressed in his own ways as well. But he really helped me and gave me some really good advice. And one of his pieces of advice was, you should get your real estate license. You shouldn't stop here with real estate. You should look at other avenues. And so from there, the first year, I made about $60,000.
What year was this?
2017.
Okay.
The second year at this company, I listened to his advice. I watched how he sold people, and I became the top salesman in the company. So from there, I decided, okay, this is great. I kind of had everything on everything was kind of like automatically coming to me because I had everything automated through email, how I was making my sales. Like, I figured out a way to kind of hack the system. And so I was kicking my feet up watching Netflix at this job. Yeah. And he's like, look, we should really get our real estate license because we had a lot of people coming in that didn't want to buy they wanted to buy, but they didn't know what they wanted to buy. We were losing a lot of people to real estate agents, and we were missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars because the market was pretty hot at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So I got my real estate license, and I kind of just dove into being a real estate agent.
And so you started out just door knocking, open houses, I mean, like the typical agent route? Is that how you started with it?
My thing was cold calling. I've always been really big on cold calling. And at first I was so bad and I got so nervous, but I got really good because I think over my career of cold calling, I've called over 1 million people. I've called a ton of people.
I mean, you'd have to pick up some skills with that amount. I mean, and that's the biggest problem, I think, with cold calling is that people, they give it a couple of days of getting told and hung up on no, and to pretty much pound salt. And then that's where a lot of people quit. But I mean, obviously there's been a lot of success with it. So you just have to get past that point of the awkwardness, that pitch right out the gate. And, you have seconds, especially nowadays. I mean, you have, if I get a random call, I'm like, most of it's get declined. But so obviously you picked up some skills there, and then you get into the market. 2017, 2018, things are starting to pick up pretty good, right? So then that obviously helps with the volume. So you're getting a lot of practice at that stage.
Yep.
So how long were you slinging just normal real estate before you started venturing into different parts of it?
Yeah, so there was a crossroad with this mobile home because the ending with this job came right when COVID hit.
Okay.
The owner of the company found out that I had a real estate license, which he was not cool with. I had signed a non-compete.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, look, 3 options. You quit, you drop your real estate license, or you can stay and I'll sue you. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to quit. Because at this time, I also picked up a flip. I picked up my first flip on a seller finance, and I really wanted to get into the investor world. Like, being an agent was cool, but I wanted to be an agent who also flipped. I was kind of over the mobile home scene. I was kind of over having a boss, right? And the reason why is because at this job, I had to wait like 6 months to 8 months to get my paychecks, my commissions checks.
Oh, no way.
And so I'm like, okay, like this isn't great. Like, I'd rather be an agent because I can get paid in a month. And then if I flip houses, like I'm seeing people make like 60, 30 grand flipping houses. So I want to try my luck at flipping.
Yeah.
And so the perfect opportunity lined up. I got a house that fell right in my lap, and the seller carried it. I paid for the repairs and did the work, and we got into flipping.
Really?
So I'd flip the house. I'd spend about 12 to 14 hours a day flipping the house.
Are you doing the work yourself?
Yes.
Oh, so you're...
I'm YouTubing it.
Starting out, that's how you got to do it. So you're in there knocking down drywall. You're doing everything. So you learned a lot of construction and
I did.
a lot of framing skills and everything during that time.
Yep. I learned how to knock down a load-bearing wall, throw up an LVL beam, put in butcher block countertops. And I'll say, if you're going to do a flip, don't do butcher block countertops. Go with like Formica or quartz.
Quartz.
Like, butcher block is like, just don't do it. Say that. Let's just keep it simple. Don't do butcher block.
I could only imagine that's a nightmare after a while. Just people just take chunks out of them, starts wearing out, stains. What? I mean, it's probably endless.
It's hard to install. A lot of people don't get it right. But also that too, the maintenance is a pain in the butt. Like, if I would have just had somebody come in and do like quartz countertops, they would have sunk the countertop in there for me instead of me doing all that, because I had to miter out the sink and all. It sucked.
A lot of work, but it saved you a lot of money for your first few, right? Ish.
Time, and if you look at the expense of time, which I didn't understand that at the time, it cost me a lot of time.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
you get done with your first flip, and then you get you get a nice paycheck from that. Was that enough to be like, okay, like this might be, this is where the route I want to go?
We only made about 15 grand on that first flip. Numbers were a little bit tight on it. The reason why it was off of a busy road, but if the market was appreciating so much, if we would have held on to it for another 6 months, we probably made like 60 grand more.
Yeah.
So we kind of fire sold it.
It went wild everywhere, but here the market during that time just went stupid.
It was a success. I mean, anytime you make money and learn a lesson, it was a massive success.
For sure. So then you're on just a mission now. You're trying to find any house you can flip. Is that the route you went?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my mindset at that time was, I've got to generate revenue because my $150,000 a year selling mobile homes is no more. I quit. And that was my good nest egg. So I'm now an entrepreneur coming out into this world trying to figure out how I'm going to make it. And my solution was, I was doing the cold calls, and then I decided, you know what? I'm going to have my wife come work in my business. Why don't I have her do the cold calls? Which was a big mistake. That's not my wife's skill set, is cold calling or sales. Like, we found out later on that she has a really high level skill set that helps my business today, but it wasn't cold calling. But my solution was, I need to go find more listings because that was easier than doing a flip. Because with flipping, I had to go source hard money, and these hard money lenders at the time, I haven't proven myself.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the money for the rehab, because usually with these private money lenders, these lenders who lend you money on flips, they'll fund 90% of the house And then you got to fund the other 10% plus the rehab.
Oh, okay.
Which would be probably, in the wheelhouse of the houses I was buying was maybe anywhere from 50 to 100,000.
Okay.
I just didn't have that kind of money.
I mean, that's a nice chunk.
Yeah.
For anybody, I feel like. Yeah.
And so I floated the first one on credit cards. And I could have done that again, but I'm like, my solution is I just need to I need to figure out today what's going to produce the most revenue. And it was getting listings. I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And so I went out there as an agent, started cold calling, trying to build my name. And I did fairly well in a time where we had very low inventory and listings were very scarce.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was no inventory. Mm-hmm. I mean, now it's obviously things are kind of balancing out a little bit, which I want to get into that side of the market here in a little bit. But, so then you do that. And so you start going back, you're cold calling, trying to put some money in your pocket. And then what, you earned enough and you're like, okay, we got a little nest egg. Now let's start flipping. You got back into the flip game, or you're funding it yourself. How does that work?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I always had my eye on it. I wanted to be an investor. I just said, just not yet.
Yep.
We need money to live. We need to build some capital. So I kept my eye out for investments. We've picked up our next flip about 6 months later. And so that's when we got our next flip. But the problem with this one was, I didn't want to be the general contractor this time. I want to hire a general contractor. And really my solution was, why don't I partner with my friend who does construction to be the GC? And I'll just pick out the materials and I'll manage all of the easy stuff. He does all the work.
Because then he gets to carry the insurance, the liability, all of that, which I'm sure that's not cheap doing it by yourself.
Yeah. And just taking the time out of my day, because I had to spend my time on the phones. That's what was making me the money today.
Oh, yeah.
But what ended up happening was partnerships are hard. Let's just say that.
Very much so.
It didn't work out. He ended up not being at the house doing the work, and time was money because I had the hard money loan in my name, and the interest was 12% annually. And I think it was about $150 a day.
Okay.
Like the interest was. So I'm like,
That adds up.
we got to get this thing done. And so I ended up going back and doing all the work again. I mean, he came and did some stuff, but ultimately it was his job to get this stuff done. We hired a painter who he said, yeah, we should just hire this painter. I think he's good. He didn't check his insurance, didn't check to see if he was bonded. We paid the guy. He took our money, never came back.
No.
And so at that point, I just said, okay, man, this isn't going to work. Like, I don't have the money is so tight on this deal because I'm funding on my credit card that we got to be very careful with this. The problem with this deal was he had no skin in the game. The loan wasn't his name. He wasn't funding the rehab, and he didn't really give a shit. Like, he didn't have a reason to. And so, I ended up going back, finishing it all, working again 12 to 14 hours a day, and then doing my cold calls in the morning, right? I'd do my cold calls from maybe 8 to noon, and then I'd go spend 12 to about midnight every night working on that, and sometimes till 2 to 4 in the morning, trying to get this house done.
Good for you.
It was a grind.
Oh, yeah.
My wife will tell you it was a grind. But you just got to do what you got to do when you're starting out as an entrepreneur. Like, if you really, really want it,
got to get it.
You got to go do it. And I wanted it really, really bad. I'm super competitive. I love to win. And, man, I just wanted to be an investor so bad that I'm like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Which is where you're kind of at now, right?
Yes.
So how long was this journey, this path that you jumped on, the flipping? When did you were like, okay, it's time to become the investor in this? Like, how many houses did you have to flip, and how much time was it in between till you were like, okay, babe, like, we're ready?
Yeah. So after this flip, I had determined, like, I'm like, oh, man, we don't have money to do this again, to screw up with a general contractor. Yeah. There must be another way to flip the house but not do the work right. I can't go get the loan again, but there must be a way to just get the house and sell it as is to another flipper and make our $20,000, $15,000. And I came across this video on TikTok, talked about wholesaling houses. And what wholesaling houses is you get the property under contract, and you take that contract and you can assign it or sell the rights to buy this property to another investor. And so I could sell that contract for however amount of money that I want to sell it for. If it's worth $300,000 to an investor and I've got it locked up under contract for $200,000, I can sell him that rights to buy the property for $100,000.
And that's instant. That's it. You're just,
well, when it closes, you get paid right away.
So you're the middleman in a way.
Yep, you are the middleman, and you don't have to do any of the work. You don't have to do any of the bull crap, insurance, get any money. You just make your money and walk away. The cash conversion is very quick.
Really? And so you figure this out, and you're like, okay, now we're on to something.
That was my silver bullet. I'm like, this is my way. This is how we're going to make it. And from there, what we do is my friend who's an electrician at the time, he came in and helped me with this last flip. He saved my butt. I paid him like $4,000 to come in and do the electrical work and help me do flooring because he was pretty handy. And he wanted to make some extra money, and I bought him a couple cases of beer.
Those are good friends.
He's a good friend. We're still really good friends today. But we decided, I told him, I said, look, I'm going to change your life. I know that this is my golden ticket. There's a lot of money in this. I want you to come wholesale houses with me. He was an electrician. He's like, man, I've dedicated my career to being an electrician. I'm like, we're going to make way more money than doing that. And you're going to have your time. And so in our first month wholesaling houses, we made 6 figures.
Really?
Made $100,000. And so that's when it really started. That's when the beast really started. I'm like, okay, well, we need to reinvest this. We're going to get a mentor, and we're going to put it back into our marketing. And from there, we hired a mentor, and things just took off. We started throwing money into marketing, and we started doing anywhere from 2 to 5 deals a month, maybe on average about $15,000 a house, a deal.
Really?
Wholesaling.
And you're like, oh man, this is finally like it's all starting to line up. Things are going smooth, right?
And at this time, I was still an agent. I had actually built my referral business because it had been a couple of years, and I just had people coming to me, calling me and texting me, say, "Hey, we're ready to buy or ready to sell."
That's nice.
I didn't have to market to that anymore.
Yep.
And the one thing that I did was really nice. Like, I've always been a social media guy. I was really building my social media ever since I started at the mobile home place. Ever since I started there, I was telling people I'm in real estate. And so people had associated me all the way back from 2017 that I was a guy to talk to when they were in real estate.
Which you have to touch nonstop because I'm sure you've run into it like, oh, my mom's moving here, and you're like,
yes. They don't realize because that's just how it is.
I just had a cousin of ours that's the next subdivision over is like, hey, we're moving, and I'm like,
my wife's an agent. Come on.
wife's an agent.
Some people are just in their own world and they don't really understand that's how we make our money. They think it's like a 9 to 5 that we get paid either way. But
yeah.
The reality is it's not like that. We're our own business, right?
Yep.
We get paid with how many people we help.
Yep.
And so, I was still an agent on the side, making 6 figures a year being an agent, and working on this wholesaling business.
Really, man. Good for you. And so when did it get to a point? Because are you still licensed?
No, I dropped my license this year.
Oh, really? So that's a big step.
Yep. I don't want to be an agent anymore. I don't need to be an agent. And I actually had a buddy who I did all of his listings, and it was really easy, actually. My transaction coordinator did all of the work.
TCs are nice.
And I just told him, like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. You're going to have to find somebody else. Like, the money is great. Last year, being an agent, we made about $35,000. It wasn't as much as years before because I let it go. And also, we moved to Oklahoma City. But I did do a lot of listings virtually where I never looked at them, and that was kind of interesting. A lot of agents like, how do you do that? It was pretty easy. The transaction coordinator and the photographer did all the work.
Yep.
It's not what, it's who. But we only made $35,000 last year, so we decided I'm going to make a lot more money doing these other endeavors that I really care about because I didn't really care about being an agent. I only did it for the money.
Yeah.
So,
which done right, it definitely can make a living, and so. So then you go from wholesaling, and then you move into there's so many different levels, and I feel like our quick chat you've almost touched every level of real estate in a way. So after that, then where did you go from there? You're still doing the wholesale, or do you transition more toward properties, picking those up and more larger stuff? Where do you go from there after wholesaling? Obviously you and the wife are crushing it at this point. What's next? What was next after that?
Yeah, so we realized that our network was our net worth, and we started, networking with more people. I started building my friends back, and the people I was building in my life were these high-level entrepreneurs. And my business partner at the time, I love him to death, but we were just growing apart. I wanted to grow, and he was okay doing a couple deals a month, right? He wanted to kind of live a little bit more slow-paced. I'm like, dude, I want to just crush it. And it came to a crossroad where I just said, you have this business. I'm actually going to move to Oklahoma City because I got an opportunity from one of my really good friends to go start a massive wholesaling operation out in Oklahoma City.
Good for you.
And so we took the leap, and on like a 2-week notice, we packed all of our stuff in a small U-Haul and moved to Oklahoma City to live in an Airbnb.
Really?
And bought a house, yeah.
Really?
And so, again, we had to restart this wholesaling business. Yep. And in the first 60 days, We restarted the wholesaling business in Idaho and in Oklahoma City, and both operations made six figures. Idaho on my own, and Oklahoma City with this new team.
Really? Mm-hmm. And so that's what your main focus is now? Or are you ventured onto the bigger duplexes, and from there, I mean, there's so much.
Yeah, so in Oklahoma City, I learned, it's funny how I say learned, but I surrounded myself with my friend who brought me out there. He's a big multifamily investor, owns 400 doors.
Really?
And he's younger than me. He's very ambitious, very, very wise. And I knew that if I went out there with this guy, that I would learn some things. And I learned some things. I learned how to buy property the right way, the way that he's done it.
Yeah.
And his way is he likes Class D. Class D.
What's a Class D property?
Yeah, so in real estate investing, when you buy, let's say a multifamily, you have different classes. You got Class D, C, B, and A. Class A is like your brand new luxury builds. Like they're really nice properties.
Okay.
Class B would be a newer property, but it's not as nice as the Class A. Then your Class C is kind of a rough area, but they're still somewhat nice.
No HOAs.
Yeah, none of that. And then Class D is, I always say that you paint the cockroaches, and if it has foundation issues, you lay extra carpet, so you can't tell that there's foundation issues.
So with a Class D, you're dealing with interesting people then.
100%. People who are lower income, but also people who don't have the best credit.
So squatters, drug dealers.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
I would say drug dealers. The squatters really come on property when you've got to evict them, when you want to raise the rents and rehab the units.
How have you dealt with any squatters?
A lot.
Okay, let's touch on this. Squatters fascinate me because I know people that have dealt with squatters, and when they tell me that their versions of squatter I'm like, kick the door off the hinges and let's go. Like, no, not dealing with it. And is that not the case? Because I feel like I'm just going to make a few phone calls to my boys, call in the troops, and we're like, hey, 2 a.m, we're hitting this house. It's my house. I'm paying for this thing. They're out. Like, is that not the case? I mean, can we not just kick the door off the hinges of my own home? And then when the cops show up, like, here's the deed, here's everything. Is that not how it works?
I'd say it depends where you are. In Oklahoma City, I don't think the police would care all too much.
Okay.
That place, like
Wild West still.
In Oklahoma City, they have a police task force that is specifically designed for the homeless.
Really?
To combat the homeless because it's so bad. But if you go to California and you try to kick the tenant out and do what you're saying, you're going to go to jail because it's just how the laws are. But in Oklahoma City, like, you probably could do that, but you're going to get crazier people in Oklahoma that will kill you because they just don't give a crap.
Really?
They'll kill you.
How many run-ins? I mean, how often do you have to deal with this?
Well, my first encounter was a house that I bought. I mean, lately a lot because I'm buying a lot of property and I buy problem properties. That's how I get such a good deal on properties. Because I know how to deal with the problems. Other people don't.
Yep.
But my first encounter was a really crazy one. It was the south side of Oklahoma City. If you know Oklahoma City, south side is nuts. Like, it's crazy. I mean, people in Oklahoma City don't even know how crazy it is because they've lived there their whole life. But if you come from Idaho and you go to Oklahoma City,
culture shock.
It is culture shock. It's a different walk of life down there. I thought I was in a third world country.
Really?
With how torn up things were on the south side, and I saw all these abandoned, boarded up properties. I'm like, we don't have a housing issue just in the places that people want to live. Right? Just like Detroit, right? There's all these abandoned, boarded up houses. That's what Oklahoma City looks like on the south side.
Are these abandoned houses, I'm just picturing like Skid Row, and why as an investor, why am I going to buy this one house? Because how do I move a single family home into the hood, right? Or just this whatever, Or is it like decent neighborhoods and there's just like that one shit house that's boarded up, it's got 2-foot grass growing, but is that what you're looking for, or are you going into like actual neighborhoods where the whole neighborhood is kind of run down? I mean, and if that's the case, I mean, how am I putting a family in there, or is that not what you're caring about at the end of the day?
It's a good question. Idaho and Oklahoma City are different markets. In Idaho, yes, sure. I want the crappy house in the nice neighborhood because this is a better quality of life here, through and through. But in Oklahoma City, And Section 8, let's talk about Section 8. Section 8 in Idaho is not a thing, but in Oklahoma City, it's investors' bread and butter. And what Section 8 is the government pays for your rent.
So you get a guaranteed printed money check from the government.
Yes, but depends who you're working with at Section 8, because a lot of people get the misconception that Section 8 is easy, but it's a political game.
So you're trying to buy these houses and put Section 8 families into them to get essentially...
For the most part, I don't have any Section 8 in Oklahoma City, but if I wanted to, I could. I mean, you could go, like, my friend who's there who owns 300 plus stores, he's doing all Section 8 because he knows he can significantly increase the value because he bought them mismanaged and they had a high vacancy rate. But he knew that if he came in and fixed them and fixed the management and got Section 8 on all of them and got in good with Section 8, that he was going to significantly increase his net worth.
And which happened?
Yeah, he's done really well with that.
Okay.
Really well.
So when you deal with a squatter, I want to hear, I mean, so are the squatters coming in, are they there when you buy the house, or are you buying the house and then they somehow slip in, or is it both?
It could be both. I mean, the property, I bought one here in Nampa.
Okay.
And I had a squatter break in, but...
I didn't even realize that it was like, it's a squatters is a thing here until recently.
Well, it's funny because I boarded up the property and all the real estate agents thought that I was crazy. I'm like, you wait. And then I didn't board up the shed, and the guy broke into my shed. It was a trap house, though. So I bought this property from drug users, and I already know, like, you just do this for so long, you already know when people are going to come back and, like, try to squat, because that's just what they do. And I didn't lock the shed. And I bought this property. I was going to clean it out, but I had a buddy of mine who was like, I'll buy it from you. I'm like, okay, let's sell it. He had his window guy go over there. He's like, hey, you got somebody sleeping in the shed. I'm like, oh, God, we got a squatter. I didn't lock the shed. And so I go over there with my 9 on my hip, and I say, dude, you got to get the hell out of here. And, I'm just like, bro, you got 5 minutes. Cops are coming. Technically, if he said that he lived there, then he'd be a squatter, and we'd have to evict him. We'd have to go through the process of filing an eviction and waiting 60 to 90 days to get this
60 to 90 days? Meanwhile, you can't do anything on the house, because if he gets access to it, then now he's in there and can pretty much run amok to whatever, which I've heard some horror stories.
Yeah, you don't want to do anything because they can trash it because they're a tenant, right?
Yeah.
Now I could go in there. I mean, there's all these different ways we can get this person out. Like, I know that if I get there and I tell the police, hey, this guy broke in, he was here when I was here, and he just came into my shed, you got to say the right thing, right? Because I don't want to say, hey, this guy's living here. Because this is a civil matter, sir. This isn't.
Yeah, and they don't care.
Yeah, hey, this guy broke into my property. And then when I called the Nampa police, we had like 15 cops there, dogs. It was nuts. And
because they got nothing else to do.
Well, I'm like, this guy's here. I'm like, I got my gun. I'm like, can I, like, anyway, so he left. He ran away. We didn't catch him, but that one wasn't too bad. The video did go viral on social media. I think we got like 30 million views total.
No kidding.
On that one. But the craziest one is one that I'm dealing with right now, and then also the first squatter I ever encountered.
Let's do the first squatter, then I want to get into this, the latest.
Yeah, so the first one was a house that I was buying from a lady. And I didn't even realize there was a squatter in it at first, because she was kind of being particular with what she had said to me, was saying to me. I'm like, hey, I want to buy this house. And she's like, okay, well, I haven't seen it in 7 years. I'm like, okay, well, are you renting it? She's like, no, I got my aunt and uncle living. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, when can I go by and look at it? She's like, well, I don't know if I can get you in. And so she tried getting a hold of them. And then finally, when we get, close to closing, she's like, look, these guys won't get out. They've been squatting for X, Y, and Z. And so initially I had offered her like 40 grand for the house, or 60,000. I said, look, I can't pay 60,000 for a house that I've never seen. Why don't we settle at like 15 grand? And she's like, I ain't going to do 15. And so finally I just bought it at 23, sight unseen, with a squatter in there. I go over there to try to give them cash for keys. I was going to give them $1,000. I said, hey guys, I bought this property from your niece, Jennifer.
Oh, so it was her aunt and uncle?
Yeah.
So her aunt and uncle were squatting in her own...
There's an interesting story that goes along with that. They were squatting, but they're loopy. They're crazy.
Oh, okay.
They're crazy.
Okay,
so
okay.
I say, guys, I'm going to give you some money. Leave. He's like, you didn't come into my house, mother effer, or whatever. He was just getting all crazy. I'm like, dude, I bought the house. I've got the title to the house. He's like, I don't care what the title company says. The video went viral as well online. And so I'm like, dude, you got one or two options. Either the sheriff comes and evicts you, or you take the money and run. He's like, you ain't coming to my house. And so I'm like, okay, call up my attorney. We serve the guy. He's not taking me seriously. He's laughing at me, making fun of me. We go to court, and I get a writ. And what a writ is when the sheriff, the judge orders a sheriff to go physically remove them from the property if they don't get out by X day. At that point, he calls me. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you were playing mind games with me. He's like, this is the situation. My niece bought the house for a diamond ring. She forged the title, blah, 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 blah. My son owned a pawn shop, and he notarized it there, and just talking all this wacko stuff.
Which doesn't matter at this point because you've already closed, funded. I mean, the house is yours.
I own the house.
I mean, obviously, if it cleared title, you're good. And so his story doesn't mean anything.
And I told him that, like, dude, that's he said, she said.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I'm out $23,000 on this house. And so I'm like, I'll still give you $500 to leave, but you got to leave peacefully. Okay. So he agrees to leave peacefully. We actually start getting along, which we didn't at first. He just thought it was a joke. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to be nice and cordial. Take the money because I know how this ends and you don't. But people have their own kind of like thinking, and they don't really like what you'll realize with this type of people is they don't understand how the law works and that there's a process to it, and they end up getting hurt. And they just don't understand how it works.
Yep.
So the day that he's supposed to be out, we go over there about 10 p.m. He texts me. He's like, I'm out. I moved out. But his son also lived in the house too. And his son was still there, and I called the cops, okay? And so the cops come. They arrest him at gunpoint. They arrest his girlfriend at gunpoint. And this guy was filling up a shopping cart full of shit that he just stole because he was going to go pawn it to go buy drugs.
Oh, my
God. On top of that, they were running a puppy mill at the house.
No, how bad did that smell?
It smelled, the house, we'll talk about the condition of the house because that's a different story. But there was a bunch of dogs there because they were just breeding them and selling them. Because these guys were lowlifes. The neighbors had all said it. These guys were lowlifes, bringing drugs, bringing shady people over there. And the house was a total loss.
Really?
Total loss. Had major foundation issues. And it was pretty bad.
So what do you do at that point? You just light a match to it, or do you get?
I was hoping a bum would come and just burn it down. It's kind of funny because we ripped out all the OSB, the flooring, because we were going to jack it up and fix the foundation issues. And it turns out the floor joist were actually rotted out from termites.
No.
And so luckily the market was still pretty hot. I threw it on the market for like $45,000 and I sold it for $50,000.
Really?
So I got out of that one pretty luckily. I got out of that.
How was the house conditions though? Like with the people, were they like hoarder squatters, or because I feel like if you're a squatter, that's really the only. I don't think
It was bad.
I feel like there's nobody just lives a normal squatter, like a normal life as a squatter.
It was really bad. So this guy was funny. The guy who lived there and his son, they sharpied all over the house. Kirk Williams lives here, or this is like
Kirk Williams.
That was his name. Yeah, he sharpied all over the house. This is my domain, and his bed sheets were funny too. They were all duct taped. There was some really interesting stuff. Like these guys were just not in their right mind. Had some really weird stuff there, and it was a hoarder house. There was just a ton of junk, but you could tell a lot of the stuff was like electronics, car stereo, like stereos,
Stuff they're just stealing.
Yeah, stuff that they were stealing, trying to try to get some money for. So, it was very interesting.
No kidding. I feel that there was a point in my life where I was a squatter and I didn't know it. I was renting a house, single bachelor, and I went through a property management company who I paid, that's all that good stuff. Well, my buddy comes over one day and he's like, hey, like your house is going up for auction. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, there's a note on your door. And when he came in and he gives it to me, it's, hey, this house has gone up for, this was in 2000, when was the first crash? 2010? 2008, so yeah.
But
right?
10 was still bad.
So I think it was 2009. Actually, it might have been 2008. And anyways, the woman, the landowner, she just stopped paying her mortgage, which she didn't tell the mortgage or the property management company. So then this whole deal comes out and the house gets foreclosed on. Like she goes bankrupt on it. And so I get this note. So I call the property management company like, hey, what the hell's going on? I just signed a new lease. I just signed a whole another year here. Like if this woman's not paying her mortgage, I'm not paying you. Like that's how this is going to work. And they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, says who? says,
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't pay either.
And so I stopped paying, and then all hell broke loose. And I was like, well, technically nobody's paying this house. So I'm like, I got like 3 months before it goes up for auction. And sure as shit, it goes up for auction. And then some guy shows up at my house one day, and he's like, hey, you have 15 days. Or he goes, I'll give you, what was the first ultimatum he gave me was, I'll give you 10 days and $1,000 in cash for keys.
Nice.
But at this point, when I first moved here, I was just a bachelor. But then I had met my wife now. We had our daughter. So when I met my wife, my oldest daughter now, she was 6 months old when we met. And so like I have 2 pit bulls, a family, right? With, in a year and a half of living there. And he didn't have a clue. He just on the lease or whatever just said single bachelor, whatever. And so I was like, you're high, bro. Like, I'm not moving out of here in 10 days with 2 pit bulls. Like, I got to find a new place to rent. And obviously pit bulls are not.
Yeah. And
so he ended up coming back, and he's like, I'll give you 30 days and $2,500 for cash for keys if you leave everything as is. And I'm like, I'm not going to steal the copper out of here. I'm like, dude, I'm a Marine. Like, I just need to. And so I called a buddy of mine. He was like, take it.
Yeah.
But I technically squatted for, I think I didn't pay rent for almost 5 months.
Dang.
And he ended up paying me, like, he found out, obviously, I was active duty and had a family. And so, yeah, it ended up working out great for me, which never happened. And then during that time, I was looking to rent. And dude, the rent was just insane, and I didn't even know I would qualify at the time. That's when I ended up eventually. It was cheaper to buy at that time because I'm not in the real estate. I just got back from 2 deployments. The last thing I'm like, I'm going to invest, but I ended up buying this house for. I mean, it was at the rock bottom of the economy at that time, and my dumbass, when we ended up leaving there, I sold it, and now, I mean, we looked at it not too long ago, and it just makes me sick to see. Yeah, I bought for $250, and I think it's worth almost $1 million now, and. It makes me sick, but yeah, I feel like I was a squatter for a while and the property, the best part about the whole thing was the property management company, like, you can't do that. I'm like, if she's not paying, I'm not paying. Yep. Like, that's just basic, like, common sense to me. Like, I'm going to pay you guys. What are you going to give her a cut of this? Like, she's not paying her own mortgage. And I'm like, and the house is already gone for foreclosure. Like, it's too late. What's the point of that? So, yeah, it's pretty funny to hear like squatter stories. Cause I always listen to them like, man, there's a point in my life where I was kind of a squatter, So it's fun.
That's kind of different though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not like doing it maliciously. Yeah. Like I signed a new lease and she goes and just stopped paying on her house. But so this newest recent squatter you're dealing with,
yes, it's kind of a similar story to you. This one's a little different. So it's a house that we bought subject to, and the guy living there, his girlfriend's the one who bought the house, right? They broke up. She's over in Oregon somewhere. And this is actually in foreclosure. They stopped making the payments this July. Okay, so I go and I work out a deal with these guys back in November. I tell the boyfriend, who's still residing there, he's the squatter. I say, look, you can stay here, but from this moment on, November, December, January, February, I need rent. And I need rent in the amount of what the mortgage is. And you pay utilities, which he agreed to do. And
that's a pretty sweet deal, though.
Yeah, he got hooked up. And in the state, and I was really helping him out. So in the state of Idaho, a verbal lease it's valid. Yep. He doesn't know that, but I just said, look, this is the deal. And, we finally, I hadn't actually closed on the property yet. We finally closed on it subject to in January. These things just take a little bit of time getting stuff back from the bank, especially when they're in foreclosure, when you buy them creative, subject to. And so, I approach this guy and I say, look, man, I haven't received rent for November, December, January, and now it's February. If you want to stay here, I need all those months in rent because now I've got to go back and I've got to pay your rent, which was like $5,000, $4,000. And he's like, I need a lease. I'm like, I'm not giving you a lease. You need to pay me, and then I'll talk about getting you a lease. Or, a verbal lease is just as valid. Yep. He doesn't understand that. And so we get into an argument. He's like, well, you're going to have to evict me. And I say, technically you're a squatter right now because you're not paying rent. And I just served you a 3-day pay or quit, which is a form that says you need to pay.
A 3-day what?
Pay or quit.
Oh, pay or quit. Okay.
Yeah. So which is pretty much, hey, you need to pay rent in 3 days. If not, or pay or evict, you're going to get evicted. I actually went and served that myself. I told this guy, look, I'm going to show up at your door. I'm going to serve you this letter. I ain't messing around. And I'll even go to court and I'll be the one who tells the judge that you didn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
I have an attorney doing it, but I told my attorney, hey, can I go ahead and talk to the judge and get this guy out? Because I've done this for a while that I just, you just know how to do things. And so I go and I serve this guy the 3-day pay or evict. He's not there, but he has a Ring camera. Mm-hmm. I'm making a video for social media because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
And people love this stuff. They eat it up because it's entertainment. And as we're leaving, the guy pulls up in his semi and tries to run me off the road.
No.
And he starts chasing us. And my wife's freaking out because she's pregnant. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, the only thing I know how to do is, I'm like, this is great content. We've got to record it. I mean, obviously we outrun him because we're in a car. He's in a semi.
Like a legit semi.
Yes.
Like just the truck, or is he pulling a trailer?
No, he's pulling a trailer. Like a potato trailer. I don't know.
No.
So he was furious. He was pissed. He doesn't understand, though. Like, he doesn't get how all this works. And I tried my best to explain it. But I would say that this property is probably Class C or Class D. It's just kind of what you get in these situations. But also the demographic. Like, these guys haven't paid the mortgage since July, right? He's been living for free since July.
And he's mad at you.
Yeah, he's mad at me. I'm like, dude, I gave you an opportunity. You didn't take that option. I can't let you live there for free. Like, I don't even get to live for free.
Yeah.
My rent's $2,500 a month.
Yeah, right.
It's just what it is, man. So we have our court hearing on the 15th, and we'll see what happens. If we don't get a writ.
What's a writ?
So a writ is where the sheriff, the judge will issue that they need to be out on this day at this time. If not,
the sheriff
comes 3 days later and forcibly removes them. They get 15 minutes to get their stuff. If not, they get arrested.
15 minutes to grab all your belongings.
Yep. It's a court order. So we're going to see what happens. It's a 50-50 shot. If not, then we got to serve an actual eviction notice, which could take about 60 days.
I mean, that's not too bad, but he can do a lot of damage in that time.
Yeah.
Have you had to deal with like the concrete down the toilets and ripping out pipes and all that stuff? Have you had any of those?
That squatter house in Oklahoma City was a total loss, but I think it's just because they don't take care of anything. They just didn't take care of anything. That's just those kind of people.
Yeah.
So far, I want to say yes. I just can't remember. I mean, I've had tenants who don't take care of the property. Like, I got some in Oklahoma City that we just rehabbed one, and that place was really bad. Like, the guy was just a hoarder. He crapped himself and just sat in it. And you literally walk in and there's roaches just crawling up the wall. And
really?
Like, the thing with roaches is, like, they crap everywhere. And you just see, like, a wall of roach crap over the wall. You open up the fridge and roaches are coming out. I got a video on my social media actually showing that. Like, all the roaches coming out of the fridge.
Oh, my God.
It's just a thing. Like, you live in pest control over there. And especially if you don't take care of stuff and you hoard, like, it's going to be prominent. So I've had a lot of tenants in Class D that they just don't take care of crap. Like, it's just who they are. And we just evicted a tenant who lived there since 1989, and like the house is about to fall over because it has such bad foundation issues. The walls are actually buckling, and I just posted a video about that today.
Oh my God!
But yeah,
so you're dealing with some shit.
Class D is shit, but there's a lot of value add. There's a lot of money to be made, but you got to go through the mud.
So when you're talking Class D, like what does an average home cost? Average Class D home? Because obviously you're not buying $500,000 homes or Class D, or are they? I feel like it's more of like a sub 100,000.
Depends on the area. Oklahoma City, yes, is going to. It depends on the area too, because there are some bougie spots. But Oklahoma City, yes. For Idaho specifically, I'd say like Nampa and Caldwell for this area is where you're going to find like the crappier homes with your Class D tenants. And there's a lot of opportunity out there. You know, the one where I got the squatter in the shed out in Nampa, that was a Class D neighborhood. But there's a lot of gentrifying going on there where they're knocking down these old homes and building new condos and stuff like that.
What do you call it? A gender what?
Gentrifying. I think that's what you say, how you say it.
Okay.
But that's when an investor will go into an old neighborhood, knock everything down and make it nice.
Yep.
And you get a lot of heat online because people are pissed because like, I can't afford this rent. Because you as an investor are going in and knocking this stuff down, and
the house across the street just doubled in value because the investor. I mean, you can't hate on them; it's business at the end of the day. But I get it; it sucks.
I understand why they're mad, but
for sure.
They're mad at the wrong reason. They don't understand why they're even mad.
Yeah,
you know,
they just got to pay more, and they don't get it. Man, that is crazy. So, what's next for you? I mean, obviously you're big into the social part of things, and so is that I mean, you got the YouTube going, you got your social media, and you're just pretty much vlogging these transactions from start to finish. And so that way people, so let's say I'm a young kid listening, or just somebody our age that just wants to get into this. Like, you have all the self-help. I mean, everything that these guys can find you and be able to get tips, advice. I mean, how do we have people be able to reach out to you and, for advice or, just questions about things like that?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook group, Wholesaling Houses. It's on my Facebook page pinned, so you could find that. I give a lot of free value to people. I really believe in that, because I think if anybody's going to pay for like my mentorship, my course, then they're going to do it because they like and they trust me, and I've provided some sort of value. We create a lot of YouTube videos that help people new get into this, because this is a process. A lot of people get into wholesaling houses and they see guys like me holding up $50,000, $60,000 checks. And it is possible to do that, but it's not as simple as it seems, right? Yeah. It's a process and it takes a lot of time. So we have a lot of training on Facebook. A lot of our content we're making there is to help out people, like people who want to become entrepreneurs. There's an interesting statistic that came out that we have more business owners and entrepreneurs nowadays than we've had in the last 50 years.
Oh, 100%.
So, and I think that's important because that's going to create better jobs, right? And so I think that's a good thing. So our social media is really tailored to like vlogging about how we've been able to build this and how people could do it too, and how it's just all a process. Like your failures are your building blocks. Mindset is super critical. But YouTube has a lot of good content. The Wholesaling Houses Facebook page does too. And we do a lot of like free trainings. Yeah. Like we'll offer like a free training showing you how to go and get your first deal or how this works. And then if you need extra help, that's when I say, buy the course, get the mentorship if you're really serious about this, because courses and mentorships are an investment in yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Because this year, we're selling our property in Oklahoma City. I think we'll net maybe about $200K. All of that money is reinvesting back in ourselves and our business, because I know that money actively worked investing in our stuff and our business is going to 10x. Even if a 2x is great, but I know it's going to 10x with what we've learned.
And that's where I feel a lot of people get stuck, because there's like a $200 course. It's like that $200 course can change your life.
Yes.
Where now you're writing $200,000 checks, and $200 isn't going to be a problem to you. But it's like, I get it. Not everybody has $200 to blow, but if you do, and I don't know how much your courses are, you're charging for courses, but it's like, I hear it all the time, like, oh God, I gotta pay for this, and it's like, man, it's like you're investing in yourself.
Nothing in life's free.
And you got to look at it. It's a self-investment. Like, you spent $200 last month on fucking Starbucks,
right?
Put it into a self-help book or course or seminar or clinic. I'm not a big guy on the motivational speakers. That's just not my thing personally. Yeah. But like, as far as courses and somebody that have done it or are doing it, like, I want to learn and I want to listen how. Like, okay, what were your failures? What advice can I take that's going to skip all the heartache, or at least some of the heartache? That's what I would love, and that's what I'm big into. But as far as listening to like these guys stand on stage and tell me how much of a piece of shit I am, and I could be a butterfly, like, well,
that's convicting.
Like,
be convicted.
Yeah. So it's those are the guys I kind of steer away from those. But yeah, so we're definitely gonna have to check you out, especially because the market's a crazy place, and I'm tied in with some guys that, I mean, their net worth is just Oprah rich, right? And it's all real estate.
Yeah.
All real estate.
It's a great vehicle.
And so, I mean, obviously the wife does real estate. We, not anything on your level. We kind of talked about a little bit briefly that we really took a step back from it when we pulled the kids and decided to go the homeschool route. But I mean, you were talking about doing things virtually. Is that something you want to touch on? I mean, is that?
Yeah, that's really good. We, tomorrow we leave to Phoenix, and I think that's important because after that we're going to go to California and hang out. But we've built this business to be virtual, right? When we moved to Oklahoma City, it was really that step. Can we do this virtually? Because in Idaho, we had built this business, built this brand around my name, and that was really the indicator, I guess, the test when we moved to Oklahoma City. Can we do this virtually? I started doing listings virtually. I started wholesaling houses virtually, flipping houses virtually, and from there we're like, we could do this anywhere. I could do this content creation everywhere because I've learned. I bought a lot of courses learning how to edit videos and how to work a camera. And knowledge is power. I want to touch on that with the courses and stuff. A lot of people like fret about spending $1,000 on a course. Well, be sure that that's what you want to learn. And I would rather have wisdom than money any day. Wisdom is the thing that I chase. Purpose and wisdom, because that's ultimately where the wealth is. But yeah, so the virtual thing, we're heading out to Phoenix and California, but we've got a wholesaling operation. And my business partner too, he's the sales guy. I invited him to Arizona and said, dude, come hang out in this penthouse in Phoenix with us. We got plenty of room for you. It's a big penthouse. And he had some other obligations, so he couldn't come. But I encourage him, do not even go look at these properties. We've got a process where we don't even need to step foot in the property. We have other people do that for us. So we got both businesses that are virtually. We got the coaching business, the course business. We make content, and real estate too. You don't need to be geospecific to an area to do real estate. Now, when you start out, I think that you should, because it's important to learn some of these things that I've learned over the years.
State laws and all that good stuff, because everybody's different. Every state's different.
Like when you flip a house, right? I think it's important that if you flip a house, do it the first one yourself, because you learn about construction and how much things cost and what it really takes. But if you can learn those things, and remember, it's all a process. These things take time. We have a generation of instant gratification. Everyone wants now.
Social media has ruined that. I feel like nobody sees the journey. Nobody shows, man, like, we were kind of talking about how we just hit, the wife and I hit 10 years on one of our businesses. And it's like, I get hit up all, dude, how'd you, must be nice. How'd you get, oh, you're connected with so many people. How do you have all these connections? It's like, man, there was 2 years when we first started where I did 230 days on the road, 2 years in a row, just grinding. And I mean, it almost cost me my marriage. I mean, but people don't, how do you know all these people? How do you get, and it's like, man, like show after show, packing up, driving to the next state, doing a show, meeting, greeting, and that's how it is. And so it's very important to go out and just get dirty with it all, the success does not come overnight. I mean, man, I think with our podcast, this is like you might be my 9th or 10th. It's like, we just had to do it. And it's just we're going to look back one day and be like, yeah, it is nice now, but there was a time where you got to start somewhere. And that's the biggest thing, is taking that initial
100%.
leap. That's the scariest part. And it's once you're in, I mean, run with it.
It's a cheat code too. When you start, when you've been in business for a while, like you just understand what it takes to be successful.
Oh, for sure.
It's consistency. There's discipline. And like I said, failure, right? Like the process, right? We love the process, because in the process, we get formed into this person that we've ultimately probably prayed about, right? Like I pray so much for wisdom, and I pray so much to be, a good husband, a good father, a great businessman, a great leader. And I will tell you that being a leader is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. So freaking hard. But if you can realize the blessing in all these failures and all these, different things that happen, that's the thing that's forming you, right? The process. And I've really learned over the years, like, that's what it takes. And it's hard when you first get started, because you're like, man, I've got an uphill battle. But the thing I always tell people is, like, time. One way or another, time's going to go on. And so you could either get started now, or you can keep delaying the process. Get started now, because in 5 years, like, you can't stop 5 years. But in 5 years, you're going to look back and say, man, I'm so glad I did this.
Oh, for sure. And that's how it always is. And you're like, God, where did 5 years go?
It's a cheat code now for guys like us, because we've learned that. But you're never going to know that and see it for yourself unless you just go out and do it. I always tell people it's these are the 3 pillars to being successful: education, community, like your environment, and then taking action. That's all that it takes. And then the rest kind of fills in the gaps.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Man, I'm glad we got to do this.
Yes.
And so to close out, I want you to be able to give any websites, links, and obviously we'll tag, and that'll all be linked in the bios of this episode. But if you want to do a quick shout out for yourself and send people to any of your businesses, they could check you out, answer any of that stuff. I mean, I'd love to be able to help you in any way. I mean, obviously we're not a big platform yet, but hey, we're working on it, right, Chris? So, I mean, dude, so please, by all means, I mean, I want to definitely jump into this with you as well. Because I know the wife and I, we love real estate. And like I said, I mean, all out of my network of people, the biggest heavy dudes that swing the heaviest hammer are all real estate guys. And it's like, obviously door knocking and doing listings and sitting on an open house on a weekend, like that shit gets old after a while, and so if this is another avenue for another adventure, I mean, why not? So please plug yourself anywhere where we can find you, socials, websites, all that. We'd love to have you shout that out.
Any of my platforms are great: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. If you just want to come see my content, it is pretty entertaining, it is educational. And we're about to really fine tune that, because I really care a lot about the content we create we put a lot of time into it, and Chris is going to help us with that too. But if you really want to get a hold of me and you really want to be a part of what I'm doing, come to the Facebook group, Wholesaling Houses. That's the best way to get my time, because I give back to that community so much. So if you want to know, like, if you're really wanting to get into real estate, come there. I've got a lot of great people who are willing to help you. But that community is specifically designed to get you the help you need. And if not, I'll go make a video. I'll get you the help that you need. So Wholesaling Houses on Facebook. It's actually on my Facebook page, pinned on my page, so you'll find it there.
Cool.
Easily.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
That was fun.
Thanks, man.